Hey, church family, Pastor Jared here. In a few moments, you're going to hear from our respective discipleship pastor, Micah Head, who we're voting on this Sunday at our 10 a.m. drive-in service. You'll get a ballot when you come, and we'll collect those before my sermon during the service, and we'll announce the vote at the end of it. So if you want to vote, make sure that you're here this Sunday so that you can be a part of that. I look forward to voting to affirm Micah. I believe that he is uniquely qualified to do the roles that we're asking him to do. He has unanimous support of the Personnel Committee. And we're very excited about the possibility of him coming on staff to serve Plymouth Park for the glory of God. You're going to see in a few moments him answering some questions you submitted. Thank you to those who submitted questions. I know a lot of people probably were wanting to ask some and they weren't able to for whatever reason, and that he's going to be able to answer those questions they might have because you submitted those. So I want to thank you for doing that. I wish we could do the normal meet and greet and have the vote in the church like we would normally do it, but COVID-19 has just really limited us on what we can and cannot do. I also want to offer some clarity to Micah's position. I think that maybe in the way that I explained it, I didn't communicate it properly. And I know that Plymouth Park in the past has had an executive pastor who really has had a lot of influence over the finances of the church, almost unilaterally. And that's not what this role. This role is not an executive pastor role. The pastoral staff will not be reporting to him. He will not have direct oversight over the finance of the church. He'll have influence. He'll get to make recommendations as a liaison to the finance committee, stewardship committee on the church budget. You'll see him talk about the church budget in the video. But you got to remember, his job is to absorb Blevins' responsibilities. And Blevins, for 40 years, has done a phenomenal job at our church, but she oversees payroll and accounts payable, accounts receivable, and helping make sure that people, our pastors, stay in their lane when it comes to budgetary spending. And Michael will be absorbing those responsibilities, as well as the discipleship, working with Cheryl Davenport and the women's ministry and the wonderful work that they do, helping us start a men's ministry here at the church, and then Sunday school small groups and different things like that. And so we're very excited to have a guy that's uniquely qualified to do both of those. And so a lot of you guys have asked me questions privately that I just wanted to clarify because I'm sure a lot of people had questions. A lot of people were asking, does he have an MBA or a finance degree? And the reality is you can't find a lot of pastors like that. And Micah doesn't, but he's working on a postgraduate certificate in finance to further his knowledge in that area. But what Micah's doing, we have a software program that you're going to see him talk about called Shelby. And Shelby does all that data for us. It does our taxes. It does our payroll. You just really need somebody to input it. What a lot of churches have moved to is hiring a full-time bookkeeper to do those types of things, to do the input and data. And Micah is going to have responsibility over that area and our discipleship. So he's not going to be an executive pastor. We need to remember that ultimately, the stewardship of this church falls on the responsibility of the stewardship committee. They're the ones who formulate the budget, and they're the ones who every month meet to see how the church is doing financially, how our health is doing. And so Micah will be working in conjunction with the stewardship committee. The last thing that we want is one person to have unilateral decision-making over the finances of our church. I don't believe that's healthy, and I don't believe that's the way our church is structured. Our church is structured to have a committee that has oversight that works with our pastoral staff. And so I just wanted to clarify that because there could have been some confusion there, and that was most likely my fault. Micah is uniquely qualified for this job, and he has familiarity, very good familiarity with our finance system that we use and the responsibilities that he's going to be taking over in that way. He knows how to use it. He's got experience with it. He'll do a great job with it. And he's going to do a great job working with our stewardship committee to make sure that our church is as healthy as possible in our finances, and that ultimately our finances are going for the advancement of God's kingdom. So I hope that clarifies some questions that you had. This is not an executive pastor position. It's going to function entirely differently, and it's going to have very different roles. But though he will have some administration aspect, and he's going to have, obviously, the discipleship side. And I think this is going to be a great hire from Plymouth Park. I look forward to voting in favor of him. I know our personnel committee looks forward to it as they are unanimously supporting him. And it's going to be a great Sunday at Plymouth Park. So make sure you're here for the drive-in service. And if you got any questions, please call the church office, talk to me, or email me at jcorna@plymouthpark.org. You can get access to me through that way, and I'd love to get in touch and answer any questions that you have. So enjoy hearing from Micah here and the questions that he was asked. He's going to answer, and I look forward to you meeting him this coming Sunday. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Plymouth Park. I just wanted to take a few moments and answer a few of the questions that you had asked, but I also want to let you know what I think about discipleship and kind of my vision for discipleship and my vision for Plymouth Park Baptist Church. And so my idea of discipleship comes from Matthew chapter 28. We have verses 16 through 20, which is also referred to as the Great Commission. In the Great Commission, Jesus Christ is telling his followers to go to all the ends of the earth and to baptize people. They are to teach them the commands that he's given them, and that he's going to be with them always, even to the end of the age. And so we likewise are commanded to go and to baptize people, which is another way of saying we're supposed to share the gospel in hopes that people will repent and believe in Jesus. And then after we share the gospel, we take these people and we teach them what Jesus has shown us. And so we were to teach them the Bible. And in turn, this creates this cycle of constantly sharing the gospel, people coming to Christ, and then we produce disciples who make other disciples. My desire for Plymouth Park is that this be a constant in our lives over and over again, making more and more disciples who love Jesus, who follow Jesus, and have a burning desire to make more disciples. One of the questions that you guys asked was about doing Sunday school via Zoom or on Facebook, and if I could help out with that or if I knew about that. Well, the first thing I can tell you is that through COVID-19, since March, I've been doing 3 Zoom calls a week with my students. And we do a Zoom call on Sunday morning for Sunday school. We do a Zoom call on Wednesday night for our regular Bible study. And we also do a Zoom call on Thursday. It's kind of like a decompress and talk about our week kind of time. And so I'm well versed in what Zoom looks like and how to use it, and the hurdles and obstacles that come along with having class via Zoom, because it's not the same. It's very different. But I'm happy to help anyone who has questions about that. When it comes to Facebook, I'm actually an administrator for my church's page. And so I know about that. I produce content for our Facebook page. And so I would be happy to also sit down and help anybody who wants to do Sunday school via Facebook as well. The last thing is that I know that social media is also a good tool that we can use to get the word out about our Sunday school classes, and as they change to Zoom or in person or however that is, I'm happy to use those tools to really help us communicate with the community around us. When it comes to RAs or GAs or Mission Friends or WMU or WOM, these programs are something that I'm very familiar with, because from a young age, I was a Royal Ambassador. I was part of the RAs, and that was a time that I was able to learn about the Bible. I was able to learn about missions and mission work, missionaries, and really formative time in my life to learn about these things and kind of learn how they work. And my mom was really involved, or still is, very involved with the WMU. And so I love how these programs teach our students and children about missions and the importance of mission work. In speaking with Pastor Jared, the actual implementation of these programs doesn't actually fall under my umbrella, but I'm happy to be an observer and definitely a helper and supporter of the way that we teach missions in our church. Financial software is an important part of any church's toolkit, and as I understand it, Plymouth Park actually uses the same financial software that my current church uses. It's called Shelby, and so I do think the transition between using that would be fairly easy as far as knowing the day-to-day operations of the software. I have also spoken with the Personnel Committee about the implementation of different kinds of software and how we would use these things to be the best stewards of every resource the Lord has trusted us with. When it comes to the budget is incredibly important in the life of the church. Everything that a church values has to be funded. And so at the church that I'm at currently, I've been here 5 years, and our budget is a little under $900,000 a year. And I personally have significant input every single year when it comes to the budget. And so I personally oversee 3 different large budgetary items. I've never gone over in any of those areas, and I've always accomplished everything that I wanted to with my budget every single year. I personally am a proponent of being as educated as possible in your field. That's why I'm going to be pursuing a certificate in finance that will allow the church to be a better steward of the money that we've been given and allow us to make the most of every dollar that's given to the Lord's church. Previous to my time in vocational ministry, I spent 6 years working for Chick-fil-A, and that culminated in working as a manager for some time. And during my time as a manager, I really got to see Chick-fil-A's philosophy of business from the inside. I saw the way that they spent their money. I saw the way that they budgeted for different items. And so each and every night I would do the end of day report, and I would file that away in the system. And so the way that I was able to see all of this from the inside really gave me insight into the way that Chick-fil-A does things. And I think what shows that more than anything is Chick-fil-A's motto is to glorify God and to be good stewards of everything that He has entrusted. I think that the church's philosophy should be the same way. We're to glorify God, but we're also to be good stewards of everything that He's given us. And so that's the way that I see church ministry and church budgets, is that we are to glorify God and we're also to be good stewards of everything that He's entrusted us with. When it comes to my philosophy of a church budget, much of that can be found in the book called Budgeting for a Healthy Church by Jamie Dunlop. In it, Jamie lays out the idea that a budget is nothing more than a list of priorities, because what you prioritize most is what you're going to fund as a church. And so Pastor Jared and I have talked about what it looks like to fund a church budget, and we agree that a church budget should be missional. Every dollar that we spend should be driven toward the ends of sharing the gospel and making disciples. And so we're going to work toward the ends of doing that with every dollar that we bring in. I'm thankful that the Lord really has gifted me a passion for not only discipleship, but also for budgeting and in churches. And for many people, that seems like a boring idea, but I definitely see that the church is not able to function, is not able to fulfill her mission without a proper budget. And so I'm excited when we get to talk about taking what God has entrusted us with and using those things for the glory of God. I hope that these things answer some of the questions that you guys may have about me, and I look forward to maybe getting to answer some more of those questions in person.